Press record. Okay, so by the way, welcome to the call. I think every guys know me that I'm Jason. But every once in a while, I'll do these. I'll pop into the group, the TNT Nation group, and just do kind of like last minute Zoom calls, just to see people always have questions that are like really bugging them, and they just can't break through, or some people are brand new and they want to introduce somebody to like what we do, whether it's the challenge groups or whether it's coaching or whatever. And so it's good to kind of randomly have these. And then as you guys grow, you'll kind of have these with your team, because you realize that with anything with network marketing, everything is relationships, period. And in this world where everybody gets like so disconnected, before they had computers, you had meetings every week. So people were like meeting in coffee shops, restaurants, that kind of thing. And now, you can branch out much farther, but it also makes it much easier for us to kind of lose touch with people, especially like our own coaches. And I'm sure, several of you coaches that are brand new or relatively new, you can see how quickly that if you don't onboard somebody right, even if they're just starting a challenge group and they are getting Shakeology for the discount, and that's why they signed up to be a distributor, how easily, if you don't get somebody started right and you know what their goals are and their motivations are, that really quickly you can just lose them, because that's what we are. Human beings, everything is habit driven. And hold on, I'm going to go ahead, do me a favor, can you guys mute your audio? Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Mute audio. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to mute the audio, and then when you guys have questions and this and that, then you unmute yourself. That way we don't get feedback. So I think that one of the things is, as human beings, when you start anything new, no matter how amazing it is, however passionate it is, however amazing of a job it is, it goes boom, you're all motivated. And then no matter what, if you don't get started right, and if it doesn't, hold on.
Sorry.
There we go. And if you don't get somebody started right, no matter what, then you can just lose people. And so it's always important that you're always kind of working with your sponsor. And even if you're brand new, the number one thing that you always want to do with people that you sign up, whatever, or just customers, is people want to know that you got them for for whatever their goals are. And that as long as you create a schedule of when you're going to be following up with them or whatever their goals are, and you write it down, like I'll have some things in my computer, but then I also carry a notebook. And so I know like when I'm following up with people, so I don't kind of lose track with people. So I think that that's one thing that's really important as we see like this huge influx of coaches joining our team, that you have new coaches signing up new coaches, and then like 3 legs down, people don't even know. It's like they just get plugged into a group, but they don't really know kind of what's going on. So I imagine if I was a new coach, what would I want to know? And I would want to know exactly what's happening. So my motivation for starting, the story, my upline, but then also what's going on here. So like I would almost, if I was signing somebody up, I would say, hey, listen, I want to let you know that I'm brand new also. And so that we're going to be in this together. And whatever it is that your wording is, but you want to be honest with people, because otherwise they're going to think that you know everything. And so like the norm is to just kind of do it on your own. And we always say like, be your own CEO, which is true. However, you still need to find out what people's goals are, because if you don't find out what their short-term goals are, then if you can't quantify it, no matter what it is, whether they're a challenger, whether they're your child or whatever, then they won't know what to shoot for, and it just won't happen. So next Monday we are starting we're going to start the prep week of our challenge group. And there's going to be people kind of doing all different kinds of programs. And right now, I'll just kind of tell you that the reason why there's a prep week, obviously, is because it takes people a little bit of time to get their Shakeology. So if you have, it may take like 7 days for, so it may take like 7 days for somebody to get their Shakeology, which is totally cool, that they want to know that there's still kind of like this group. And so also, you want to also explain to people when they join a challenge group that you tell them what's going on, but that you also kind of give them options. Say, hey, listen, these are your goals, and this challenge group, this sport group, and you pump it up. Like, this is a safe place for a bunch of people that are just like us that really want to achieve a goal. Some of us have just started our journey. Some people are, are halfway through their first goal. People of all walks of life. And so we're all here to support each other. When you first start a challenge, one of the key things that you want to do is you need to, and Brooke is like the queen of challenge groups. And one of the things that she does is really good is that she outlines what the expectations are. And I think Mario, I think you're in the new training, and like she outlined, because we had to restart the group because everybody kind of fell off. And so we had to learn from that. Instead of being frustrated, we're like, okay, well, what would we do differently? And so the same thing would go with the challenge group, that if you're starting an accountability group, whether it's 30-day, 60-day, people will do what you ask of them. They just need to know. And so you just want to be very clear with, these are the expectations. And so like one thing that we're going to do is you're going to be required to do either a video introduction, just kind of your story. It could be 2 seconds. It could be 10 minutes, or a written introduction if you're not comfortable with that. But there needs to be some introduction. And that's kind of like the first level. And the idea is to be able to get to know everybody before the challenge group starts, so that, it's like, oh, well, this is Mario, and he lives in Indiana. He works in Kentucky, and this is what his story is. This is why he was inspired to do this challenge, and this is maybe why he became a coach, because there'll be coaches, challengers, everything. And because the success of a challenge group is not in the actual program is easy. Like, it's, you drink a Shakeology, and I add a fourth and a fifth thing. So a fourth thing is your water intake, and a fifth thing is your personal development. All you got to do is plan your time. I have every one of my challengers have their schedule out, and so they have to send me exactly when are they going to be working out, and if they're taking a day off, then they're going to take a day off, and they just have to plan it. And then how are they going to plan their meals? How are they going to plan for, like for instance, if you're running all over the place and you travel a lot, then you're going to want to have more little baggies of snacks, cucumbers and carrots and maybe hummus, whatever you want to do. And then whatever it is that you're comfortable with, then you know what your portions are. And so you've planned it for the week. Maybe you have a crock pot chicken or whatever, and we've got like a million recipes. Is it going to be a learning curve? Absolutely. But at least you planned it. And so that way, at the end of the week, everyone can assess each other and say, hey, listen, where do we succeed? Where do we fall off? So the actual 5 steps of success of changing the shape of your body, and, but the fifth thing is personal development. And so if you are doing that, then that's great. But why don't people do that, even though they know they should be doing it? Well, that's because of the story that we create. So 20% is the action of actually doing it. That's easy. 80% is like the story that we create around it, with whether we can do it or not. It's with the same thing with challengers, same thing with anything in life. And what this accountability group does is it allows you to be surrounded by people that are kind of talking positivity and talking through their struggles and their stories and creating solutions, just like we do in the coach group. So that's kind of, to me, and again, everybody does, different ways of doing challenge groups, and they motivate people different ways. Like, you get points for posting every day, post your sweaty pics and your accountability pics and your workout pics and food and whatever. And that kind of is discussed in the first week. But I think it's always important to know why the accountability group is there and why it's successful, because it helps you to recreate the habit, but it allows you to succeed because you're surrounding yourself. Your whole life may suck, and the challenge groups might be one of the only safe places, and might be one of the only bright spots in your day. Your job might suck. And so if you have a challenge group where nobody's interacting, then that kind of, defeats the purpose in what I feel like a challenge group should be. So challenge group to me is more like true accountability, but like where we teach each other to kind of how to be interested in new people. And I think that's what's real cool, because what that does also, that is the key to being a good coach. It's the number one thing. When you can transition into truly being able to develop rapport with anybody and be truly interested in people, that's when you're going to transition into providing ridiculous value to anybody that you come across. And not everybody's going to be, become a coach with you or be able to really be inspired by you. But at least there's that chance. And the way that we all come into this is and this has to do with the story that we create. So we all come into this with our own views of what's going to work and what doesn't work, our own doubts and everything. And then all of a sudden, through personal development and through community and being around people that really kind of help make you better and get that light bulb to turn off, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to stop talking so much and you're going to start asking questions, or you'll start actually looking at what other people's stories are. And you'll kind of you almost feel like you have to force yourself to be interested in somebody that's not like you. And I think that's the way I was, where it's like, I don't have anything in common with this person. And you just kind of write it off, like right at the beginning. You're like, I can't help this person. Or I don't want to know this person. I mean, we do it if we're on the subway or whatever. We just we judge people. And so I think what ends up happening is when you start to develop the importance of rapport and actually how to really be interested in people. And again, it happens over time through personal development and interactions with people. It's natural to ask follow-up questions. It's natural to actually not talk about yourself. And then in essence, they'll actually ask about you. And so it all kind of falls into play. The way that you start off a challenge is really also the way that you can really become a really good coach. And a lot of those are kind of backwards ways of, people think like, knowing all the logistics of coaching and everything like that. I mean, that's just a job. You can look at the Coach Online office. You can see what does Success Club mean, where to place coaches. I mean, that's like a monkey can do that. You think about a lot of that stuff is you just have to learn it. And the way you learn it really isn't by reading a book. It's by, the first time that you sign up your first 2 coaches and you become an Emerald, you call up your sponsor and it's like, all right, where do I put them? All right, how do I sign them up? All right, walk me through it. And then they walk you through it, and then they do it again, and then you get to know it. It's like, what do they say? You educate somebody, tell somebody, you do it together, and then you do it, then the next person does it alone, and then the trail goes on. So, as we're, so I'll kind of just finish up the talk about the challenge groups, but the challenge groups really have the ability to really kind of help people and inspire people, really through the community, and have people become friends and maybe even success partners. And everybody has their own way. I know that Mario has been, in my challenge group, and I'm a huge fan of personal development. So I'm like searching for YouTube videos every morning that really can help motivate people. Now, the last challenge group, because I had been working on really personal developing a lot of our coaches, and I hadn't done a challenge group in a while. And so it really, it helped a couple people, but there were a lot of people that kind of fell to the wayside. And so I'd ask myself, why? Well, very easily, it's because I didn't create the expectations at the beginning, period. So even though it was good content, nobody knew that that's what they should have been doing. So whenever you are starting a challenge group, it's extremely easy. All you're doing is you're there to help people and you guide them. And if you're not comfortable, you have your sponsor do your first month with you and you're an apprentice coach. You're never there to do it alone. So let me, I know that Teresa, had some questions on whether like maybe role playing in terms of, I know some of you guys had questions with objections and things like that. I'll kind of open up the floor to anybody that's got questions about anything. And then you can just unmute yourself. Anybody? I have people smiling. Teresa, you don't have a question?
Jason, I do.
Oh, Heather. Okay, go ahead.
My sister and I, we were actually supposed to start our 5-day challenge group this week. And we posted and everything and got no response. And we were just really discouraged. And we didn't want to go out there, and especially my sister, she's very introverted. We just didn't want to go out there and like act like salespeople. And that's my thing. I feel confident once I get the challenge group going. It's actually like getting people into it and involved and doing it in a way where I don't sound like a salesperson, but I want to be. I mean, I am genuine about it, but I just. Do you have any help with that?
Sure. So the first thing is that when it comes to, so is a problem right now in terms of for you, is it, have you developed your, let's start all the way back at the beginning. Okay. So like right when you first start. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's when you go into the coach page, it can be a lot of that. And this is normal, can be very intimidating because you'll see people rank advance and do this and that. They're starting a challenge group and oh my God. And then if somebody isn't, then you're like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. And the truth there is that that's not necessarily true because it has to do with, number one, the warm market that people have coming into this. Okay. Mm-hmm. So some people just naturally have more credibility coming mm-hmm. in.
Yeah.
So meaning that like, if they started doing something, people would just do it to do it. But that's also what causes people's destruction because that warm market will disappear quickly and you think that you're doing it the right way. And so what's important is that, so like, for instance, I'll give you an example. So one of our coaches, I think it's one of Christy's coaches, we were running through a conversation about someone had posted or had commented about one of her pictures and about one of her workout pictures. And she said, I really need to be doing something like this or whatever. And so what that coach said to her was, well, hey, I'm running a challenge group. Like you should really do it. And that's what we see a lot. And that's where you'll get objections all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's important to know where the breakdown happened there. And it's because your instinct is, I want to help them, have them come join my challenge group. And I know some of you guys that are in sales and marketing, the learning how to market yourself is a skill. It is not a natural resource. So it takes time through, books that I've read, but through experience and also from learning from coaches like us mm-hmm. on or you look in the Beachbody, online office, which has all that at the beginning, all that new coach training. So like in the form method where no matter what anybody says to you, if you do have somebody that's interested, you always want to take a step back and you want to establish the relationship. And even if you know them, say, hey, what's up, man? Cool. And instead of you almost don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
So, what I would say is, I may look on their wall and I see about their kids or whatever, something that interests me. And I'll say, oh man, I saw you guys just came back from Disney World. That's awesome. Like how old's John now or whatever, like just kind of like, shoot the crap. Mm-hmm. And then I'll act like I'm in a rush. That's another thing is you always want to act like you're in a rush. So it's like, well, hey, listen, man, I got to run, but I saw you posted about that. And I'd be happy to sit down and talk to you about what it is that I'm doing. I'd like to get a better idea of what your needs are, what your goals are, but I have to run. So, but if you'd like, I can set you up with Beachbody's got this. They have a huge plethora of amazing free content on their website that's got nutrition resources and fitness resources that like I just think would be amazing for you. If that's something you're interested in, I'd be happy to set you up with one of those free accounts. And then when we've got time, I can walk you through some of the awesome stuff that it has to offer. It's totally free. I'll mention free like 6 times.
Yeah.
And so what you've done is even though you're like, I want to sell that challenge pack or whatever, you know, it's just like in the book, Gary Vaynerchuk, it's jab, 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 right hook, no matter what, no matter who it is. And so one thing is, some people are going to have a lot of people that will come to them with what they're doing, and they'll have a lot of trust and credibility. They should be doing the same thing, because if they don't, then what's going to happen is so if I did that and I basically told somebody what I was doing, they should join a challenge group, even if they decide what program they want, it still was my decision for them to do it. And that's what you want to stay away from. You needed to be their decision the whole way, because that's them empowering themselves. And now that being said, as a new coach, even myself, it doesn't always happen that way. I mean, and when I first started, all I was doing was the wrong way. I didn't know any other way.
Yeah.
And so I was getting really aggravated with like, I don't understand, like, why, like, this is the solution. Like, just listen to me. Yeah. And, you know, I used to be really impatient, but the reality is that there's a reason why, where network in anything, you know, a lot of times you'll hear me, I won't talk about Beachbody. I'll just say network marketing, because the structure is the same. The fact that they call us health and fitness coaches, I mean, that's something on the side. If you want to do that, great. But it's establishing relationships, and it's putting people in front of a product that works, period. You know, it's like, it almost is a downfall that people think that we're health and fitness coaches. So when you think of that, you just want to kind of take a step back. So for instance, so let's walk through. So you're starting so when you first signed up, you signed up what, a month ago, 2 months ago?
2 months ago. Yeah.
2 months ago. Okay. So what did you do when you first signed up? Like your first month?
As far as like just coaching in general.
Yeah.
Just for me, I mean, it was just more starting the clean eating myself, you know, just starting my own health journey, you know. Mm-hmm. And then just because right now, I mean, I've been really busy with the kids and everything, but trying to do Beachbody at night, you know, so a lot of it was just trying to do personal development, kind of do a lot of the training, you know, and everything, just getting the basics down. Okay.
So that's awesome. Because I mean, a lot of people, I mean, with kids and everything, I mean, you're balancing all that. That's awesome. One thing that is, and again, always remember that whenever I'm being very aware of everything that I say to you has to be totally duplicatable. Okay. So it's something that, like, how are you going to get your coaches started right? So like when I was talking to Mario last week, it's like we talked about, it's like, what's his job the first 30 days? Like, my job is to give him the steps to get his product paid for, to get Success Club, you know, whatever his goals were. Mm-hmm. And that was, you know, we walked through that with a 7-day quick start. And then I had him basically blast out his contact list, use the memory jogger, everybody that you know. What that does is it just opens up your mind. That's all that does. Okay. So let's just pretend you're kind of like towards the beginning. Mm-hmm. Your only job, your first month, and this is why anybody can be a coach even when they first start. Your only job for the first 30 days is to be the best challenger possible. Okay. And it's our job as a sponsor to put you in front of the resources to make you meet your first goals. So whether you see people in the first month sign up all these coaches, I actually do not think right at the beginning that's a good idea, because as a brand new coach, you're just learning about, you know, the reason why it's not that good of an idea is because, like, let's say Mario signed up 6 coaches. Like, I don't have time to like onboard 6, 7, 8 coaches in like a week, like, because he's brand new. And so now we may be able to get on a group conference call, but we want to get you guys started right. And so you always want to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. And that's why, like, Emerald in the first 30 days is good. Whether it comes in 7 days or 30 days, it doesn't make a difference. You just want to make sure that you're able to onboard the coaches that you bring on board. Mm-hmm. Your first 30 days, you're the best challenger possible. Now, what is that doing? What it's doing is okay, well, how am I going to let the world know that I'm doing this? And so one thing that I talk about in the new coach call is that you don't want to all of a sudden start blasting on Facebook or blasting on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, whatever, about the fact that, oh my God, I'm a Beachbody coach. This was great. Shakeology was great. All that stuff. You want to pick 5 topics that you like to talk about. So like for me, pediatric dentistry, workout tips, recipes, Fiona. I mean, I don't even know, just five things. Okay. And then I got little Post-it notes. And so I know every day what am I posting? So I know I'm not overdoing anything. You want to sprinkle in Beachbody, but you want to be emotional about it. So as much as you're comfortable with. So sometimes it's just a little bit, sometimes it's a lot. It's just, why are you doing this? But by being the best challenger possible, and how do you become the best challenger possible? Whatever group that you're in, you really want to make sure that it's not just posting, that you actually are kind of getting a vested interest in the other people. Like, what are they about? Is this person like me? Are they not like me? And maybe giving people advice, kind of checking in, and then, but you give yourself a schedule. So if you're checking into a challenge group, then you give yourself like 10 minutes to maybe respond and post or whatever, like, because you're limited with time. But that way, at least you're able to kind of figure that out. So after those 30 days, and you're doing personal development, you've got your first book in, or YouTube videos, whatever it is, and you ask any of us coaches, we can give you videos, because there's a difference. There's a lot of people that they say, I'm trying to do personal development. I'm trying to. When you start applying it, so the one thing is, like, for instance, right here, Success Magazine. So like, I'll be reading this, and like, I don't just think about it and say, oh, it's great. Like, that's part of my post probably. That's probably part of what I'm talking about with my patients that day. I mean, whatever. Or I'm writing on a sticky note. So you kind of let it in that, like, how can this write? And if it's not interesting, then I'll just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, how can that help me? So what that's doing is people get drawn to you, and not just by what you post and everything like that. I mean, everybody likes to say that, the times you post and it's the way you post. It's like, if you ever notice now, like, I'll post at the most random times. I'll post at 2 p.m. I don't even look at the times anymore, because but at the beginning, I had to post when I knew that people were going to be on. But what happens is, eventually, when you just start to get it, slowly but surely, people kind of get drawn to you. So if you are with your sister, for example, and you're like, okay, I'm doing a free clean eating group. So the one thing that you kind of want to say to yourself is, if no one's biting from social media, it's probably because people are just puking out free detox challenges all over the place and free clean eating challenges all over the place. And so you want to say to yourself, well, what do I have to offer? Why am I different? Who am I attracting? Like, what kind of person? And even if it's just like 1 or 2 people, then you want to, or if it's friends, somebody that you think that you may be able to reach out to. A lot of times, once people write out that contact list, what it is it's fear, kind of like afraid to kind of ask them to say, hey, listen, would you want to do this? And if you're not comfortable with it, then that's when you ask, myself or Brooke or whatever, to say, hey, listen, I want to get this going. I want to do this 5 days. I want to do it right. Can you just give me some tips? And it's okay to start with 2 or 3. Now, I'm a fan, and this is just me, is that I like to get people a paycheck quick. And so one thing that I think is important is really kind of digging deep into your emotion of, like, why do you like this community? What is it doing for you? Because the shakes and everything are great, because you need to have your body right before you get your mind right. I mean, period. I mean, that's why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. But you want to kind of, look inside a little bit and say, why this? Why TNT Nation? Why, Fit Boss? Why? What is this doing for me? Or what am I not allowing it to do for me? Where am I still? Why do I feel like I need it? And as you're kind of thinking about that, that's what's going to kind of resonate. You're not going to say those words. That's what's going to resonate with people, because you're going to be asking questions, and then follow-up questions. You'll actually be interested in them. So one thing that I like to do is really encourage people right away to do a to do a 30-day challenge or a 21-day challenge or whatever, to try and find a couple people that would want to kind of take this journey for you. And then if you can't find that right away, then you say to yourself, well, why? So why does somebody like, girl A, okay, or woman A, new coach A, why does she have an easier time reaching out to people and another coach might not? There could be a million factors, but it also could be that you are relatively new to social media. And so now do you say to yourself, okay, but now I need to start looking at my contact list and start saying, okay, who might benefit from, who can I reconnect with? Because you don't just want to call people and ask them to do a challenge, but you want to see who can I reconnect with. You want to reconnect with them on Facebook. Do you want to run into them? Things like that. And then you want to, with confidence, you want to start to basically, do those kind of like indirect invites. But one thing that's very, I think it's very important to understand is that, number one, we all started where you started, okay? And the coach that's in your situation, that's the best situation to be in, that discouraged position at the beginning. Because I would rather be discouraged at the beginning than be discouraged 4 months down the road and you've hit a block and you're just frustrated and your husband's had enough and things like that and they still don't get it, all that stuff. So it's always important to understand that if you're frustrated and you're not sure what's going on, that probably means that your goal is way out here and you need to bring it closer. Mm-hmm. And you need to now break down. So for instance, I see Mario in the upper left, so I'll just kind of use him as an example. So let's say it was Monday, and I would talk to him and I would say, all right, man, what's our goals for the week? All right, our goals for the week is, or our goal for the month, for example. All right, goal for the month is I want to sign up 3 coaches. So then I'll say, all right, well, what's your plan? What do you want to do? Then we'll look at his contact list, and then we'll say, okay, well, how many people you're going to reconnect with every day? We'll break it down into 7 days. So let's go with 1 coach a week, even though he may get more than 1 a week, but let's say 1 coach a week. So Monday hits. All right, let's look at your schedule. Look at your contact list. Look at the people that you come in contact with. You got to start coming up with a candidate list of people that you'd like to reconnect with. And then you'd have to say to yourself, if I want to invite 1 person, I've got to get in front of 10 people a day, or whatever the number it is that you would come up with. You've got to reverse engineer everything, because then the frustration goes away. So for instance, if my goal, for example, is, let's use something that's a little bit more concrete than coaches. Let's first start with Success Club 5. So Success Club 5 is 3 challenge packs. Okay, 2 challenge packs and a Shakeology. Okay, let's say 3 challenge packs. So that would mean that you need to be selling 3 challenge packs. You bring it back into a 7-day zone. Your goal is to sell 1 challenge pack for those 7 days. So now you say to yourself, how are you gonna do that? Let's go ahead and look at your schedule, and you want to scratch out sleep time, family time, work time, whatever. And then you've got workout time. Workout time is important for getting that goal, because if you're not working out, then you're not balancing yourself. So 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it is, you scratch that out. Now we look at it and we say, okay, how many people every single day are we going to follow up with? Or how many people are we just going to talk to? And so I would say, let's say 5 people. So 5 times 5 is 25. I would say that's a pretty good ratio. Talk to 25 people to sell 1 challenge pack. Okay. And so what's happening is your goal is to start a conversation with 5 people. You may not even mention on that first day anything about challenge packs. Okay. You're just connecting with people. At first, you may not be able to, the idea is 5. Now at first, before you really get well versed in social media, you may not be able to see, well, how am I going to meet all these people? But eventually what happens is you can go through Twitter and hashtags and just start to form connections with people that are like you, and groups on Facebook. I mean, these are things that you kind of learn. But what you would do is you have and everybody should have a follow-up tracker. Everybody have a customer list and a follow-up tracker. So every single person that you meet, you got their email address or whatever it is. And then you write I'll write a little snippet of how I met them. I mean, I do it on my computer on an Excel sheet, and something funny or whatever about how I met them. Like I met a woman on Delta Airlines in the Delta Sky Club, and she was a nurse, and she thought I was going to cut my hand on this broken glass. And we ended up chatting. She's a school nurse. And I remember everything about her because I asked questions, but I have her contact information, and it went in my follow-up tracker. And what that does also is when you start writing it down, it starts to become real. You're like, okay, and then other light bulbs kind of like, who else? Who's the second degree of separation? And you start getting excited. And so then when at the end of the week, when you've done your 25 invites, then you analyze it. Like, okay, did I sell 1 challenge pack? Did I sell 0? Did I sell 3? And if you didn't, then you look and say, okay, what happened? All right, well, let's see. I only did 6 invites. I only followed up with 6 people the whole week. Well, that's why. Well, but I couldn't find anybody, but that's why. So now we need to look at where are you blocked? I mean, theoretically, there's been times what happens is, and this is part of development, you start just having fun with it. Like I've gone to Kroger and just literally I'm like, I got to meet people, and I'll just start I'll hang out in the fruit aisle for an hour. You know what I mean? And just be like a total jacket, because it's funny and I'm not saying that like you need to do, but it's like it becomes fun to figure out how to start a conversation with people you don't know. And what we realize is the fear of like right before you talk to somebody is like the worst part about it all. Like just like, right before I inject somebody, it's the fear of right before the injection than the actual injection itself. So that's always what it is. So you kind of dissipate that by almost making it kind of like this fun game, and then you can give yourself rewards. So say to yourself, hey, if I do 5 cold invites today, I earn this. I'll get myself that shirt, that whatever, like weird little games that you play with yourself. But everything comes back into that. So if you're that person that's initially kind of introverted and things like that, well, then all that means is, you might be born that way, but really I think it's a product of your environment, and you can become whoever you want. And you can see how what this does, whether you are selling Shakeology or whether you're selling lotions, you still have to talk to people. Like it would be that I would probably still hang out in the fruit aisle if I was selling Nerium, because the difference is I'm looking for people that maybe could have use of a skin product. And so that's really how you want to kind of break it down. And so when you're feeling like, okay, I'm frustrated, okay, you basically take it. I only go 7 days at a time. I do the same thing with my challengers. So if they want to lose 30 pounds, we take it per 7 days. And challengers is like the easiest thing in the world. It's like, did you drink your half your body weight in ounces? Check. Shakeology? Check. How was your calories for the day or your balanced meals? Check. Did you work out? Check. And then at the end of the week, you look, say, but I didn't have time. No. Okay. Like, we were supposed to plan, meaning that like, if we planned it out, then there's no excuse. Like, it's okay. But like, now we know there's no use in being frustrated because it's right there with why it didn't happen. And I think that's sometimes what happens with coaches, with new coaches especially, is because everybody wants to get the ball rolling and cooking, and everyone's like, this is what you do. You invite, and then you do a free group, and then you do a pay group, and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't just happen like that for everybody. Mm-hmm. I think that for you, but when you do it this way, I think that you will establish trust and credibility, and one person becomes 2, becomes 3. And it's not because more people start seeing you on Facebook. More people that are interested in you will see you on Facebook, and then their friends will. But then when you're just out, you just will talk differently. I mean, if you know me now and then you knew me 18 months ago, I'm a completely different person, completely different. But I don't notice it. But I literally see things differently. Because I let my story has changed rather than letting the story kind of dictate my life and saying, well, I can do this, but I can't do that. And I don't like doing this and I don't like doing that. Now my story is I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed, period. That's where my story goes. And so that's kind of how that, how that'll happen. So what I would say is, the first thing is wherever you feel like, go back to the new coach documents because they're really good. And I like to go back to those because that's what's duplicatable. When you onboard somebody, remember that they're an apprentice for those first 30 days and that you've got them for those first 30 days and that you're going to direct them to that new training besides, of course, the new coach training that we have with our basics training. Mm-hmm. Did that help at all?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. And then,
and I'm doing a call with Brooke right after this too. So I can talk to her a little more about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, that's who you're talking to at 9. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So does anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Mahario.
Okay, I have a couple people that want to get into the challenge and they're ready. And they've been texting me about signing up. I don't know how to sign them up. So basically, I've been kind of saying we're going to sit down with my upline. We're going to talk to you and discuss what package is best for you, what your goals are, and then we're going to do this together. So that way we get going the way it's going to best, help you get to your goals. So I'm just kind of been encouraging, but putting them off at the same time because, and I've also told them, that I'm new and I'm kind of learning. So, that, also what they're getting for their money is motivation, accountability, things that we've discussed today, I was just wondering, as far as like, once you get the commitment for the challenge pack, do you go ahead and sign them up, even though our group's not starting until Monday?
Oh yeah. So the first thing is that first of all, that's amazing. I mean, that's exactly what you want to basically with trusted people that come to you and they're like, yeah, this is great. This sounds great. You're very honest with them. You're like, this is awesome. I'm going to get you, I would love to have you guys as accountability partners. And I tell you what, I just joined as well. My upline, the first thing is you edify your upline always. Okay. Right. Just like, I would, if I had an upline, because I don't have an upline, but if I did, I would edify them. But like Brooke and I edify each other, so to speak, meaning that we commend each other. So the first thing is you would say, we're going to get on a call with my upline, Jason, and he's awesome or whatever it is. But it's important that you do that for their trust, whether you know them or don't. And that from there, the only thing that I would have done differently is that you want to make sure that you end that conversation with when's good for you guys, and you want to do it as soon as possible. And that might have been partly my fault because I know that you were interested right away and we were like, okay, let's wait a day or two. But really what you would say is, hey, listen, are you guys available tonight? Is it okay if he calls you? Is it okay? What's best for you? Email, because I want to make sure that we find out what your goals are and your needs so that we can fit the best program to meet your needs so that we've got the complete solution for you, because it really depends on what you need. And then I would say, again, I'm so excited for you guys. This is going to be amazing. And you get a commitment. So any phone call that you end with, you always want to end with either a task or a follow-up time.
Right. Well, actually, like the thing that I wrote last night when I, sent the invite for the challenge packs for the 5 people that I wanted to put in the group. And then I once they gave me their I'm in kind of confirmation. And I said, we'll be contacting you shortly. My upline will be contacting you and getting, all your information so we can set you up with the right pack. So, and that's what I pretty much wanted to ask you tonight on this call, so we can, so if I just shoot you, a Facebook message, including you and with those people, then you can kind of contact them directly. It's like an introduction, so you can contact them directly.
Absolutely. And, I'm just thinking about it because what I think that I'm going to do is what I think is a good idea, especially for time's sake, especially for somebody like you, because there's some challenges, like I've got 5 people that are interested, is if you have an upline that's animated like myself, that I have no problem going on video, then I think that what's strong is option A would be send them a questionnaire.
Yeah.
And that's, by the way, questionnaires are awesome because Brooke and I have created different questionnaires that specifically gear towards the answers that we need.
Right.
Between what program they like or whatever, but they're telling us. And so what I'm going to do is I'll create a little video, and the video will be basically thanking them. And then also I will actually tell them, okay, so I've got 5 questions for you, and underneath the video, I'll be post the questions, and that for them to talk to you. And the next step would be the programs that you would recommend. Okay. So they can email me, or they can email you, and those responses, okay, depending on those responses, will allow us to then send them a third-party tool with what will be the best answer for them. So that's what that questionnaire does. So I may do a video and then attach actually a questionnaire, because then it's all automated.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Because the whole idea is you want to make it so that it's duplicatable, so that when you're teaching your coaches, that no matter what, those first 30 days when they're signing up their first coaches, that you walk kind of through everything. Because I'll walk through with you. So like a lot of times, you're going to learn things in the new coach training. However, you'll also learn things just from doing them. So like, what are the different ways that you sign somebody up? So you would get on your phone. There's the Team Beachbody mobile app. That's like how I sign everybody up. And first couple of times you're like, I don't understand how to use this thing. And then it'll all of a sudden be second nature. The reason why this mobile app is awesome is because the first thing that comes up is you enter your coach ID, you enter your email address and your password, and you're into this little, mobile site. And it says sign up new coach or sign up new customer. If they are already a customer, and a lot of times they don't even know they're a customer from a product they bought like 10 years ago, P90X, if they're already a customer, then it will say it will not allow you to register them again. Okay? Because if you just send them to your website, or you just send them a link to purchase a challenge pack, even if it's attached to your ID, if they already have an existing email address registered with Team Beachbody or Beachbody, then you will not get credit. And so they either need to give you a different email address, or they need to do a coach switch and call customer service, which takes 2 seconds. But that's very important. So a lot of times what I end up doing is, that's why I sign up so many free customers and do that at the beginning, because that way, even if I kind of lose contact, they're at least in the system, and I know. And the one caveat to that is that if you can also use that app to sign up new coaches, and you just click the new coach thing at the beginning instead of new customer. That one, even if you already have a password or already have an email address, you can sign up with a new coach account. So for example, Mario, let's say you were just a customer and you were my customer. Okay. So you're in my customer list and you just have a customer ID. If you hated my guts, or if you found that your best friend or whatever, and you're like, I want to be a coach with him, you can actually sign up and switch to be a coach from somebody besides your the person who besides the coach who signed you up. Okay. You can't switch from coach to coach without being out for 6 months, but you can go from customer to coach to any coach you want. Okay. But yeah, we'll go over, I'll create the questionnaire. I'll send you the questionnaire, and then they can send that and just let them know, because challenge group starts Monday, but we need to get that ordered as soon as possible so that we know that they're definitely going to have it a week from Monday.
Right.
Okay. We
can practice on Alicia as far as the first challenge pack or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And also know this is that even if, and because this happens all the time, is that everything's going right, they're answering all the right questions, and let's say you still get an objection, or you still get something that's holding you up. And that's, number one, you're always, no matter what, you could always get those. And the second thing is that it's always important when that happens to remember it. And if you, at the very least, you're always providing value. So if you think that, for whatever reason, you're still there for them and there's still value. So whether it's giving them information in a free group, a clean eating group, recipes, whatever it is, you're there to help them. You're not there to get aggravated because they can't come up with money, or they're, giving you a million different objections of Shakeology versus everything else. If you establish enough value and you throw the passion behind it, listen, this changed my life. And this person's, you always tell everything through a story. So it's either your story or somebody else's story that resonates with that person. And if they still can't make the decision, then the timing may not be right, which is okay. So, it's all about how much value do they place on this. Okay. All right. We need to wrap up because it's 8:56. I know that they're starting the next call at 9:00. So if any of you guys have any other questions, you can feel free to call on to message afterwards, and we can always talk afterwards. But I'm going to record this and then I will send this to you guys. Okay. I hope this was helpful.
Yes.
So
I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.